Okay, this recording is how to get these files so you can get them on a graph. Some of you might understand how to work Excel. I don't. Remember that in the last video, we averaged the first 20 pages, the second 20, third 20, fourth 25th 20, whatever it worked for your conditions of saline. Lithium right away, lithium at 15, lithium at 30, for example, and washout. Maybe it was zinc. Okay, either way, it's the same thing. So you take your average, like this one, and what you can do is to highlight it. Try to get to the edge of the thing, of the trace, because it's going to make it easier later. Shit, sorry, this one didn't work. So, all right, let me do this. There you go. And let's just go to 50. You can see the 50 on the x-axis. So we got that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go Control C. So I copied that screen. And I'm going to take that, I'm going to go over here to my Excel file. I'm going to write saline. I'm going to go next column over and I'll paste it in. Now, if you paste it with all this stuff like block header and all that, you get a lot of extra junk. So take that off, leave time and seconds, and all this is fine. Okay, so now we have that done saline. Now I want to do, in this case, lithium at 0. So I'm going to put L0. I'm going to put this over here. Now you see the time that it started recording. It's 10 milliseconds before the 0 line, whatever this, where 0 is. But the next time, I hope to be able to get it at the same spot. I will on purposely not do it exactly against the window so you can see what we can do. And I think we went to 50, right? So there's 50. I'm going to do the same thing. Control C for copy on an IBM. I don't know what other program Mac might do. We're going to paste that in there. Time and always seconds. And what we see is that the time is off here. That's okay. I'll show you how we're going to fix that. Lithium 15. So now we're going to take the next one. And hopefully we can get maybe all the time we can get close. Okay, it doesn't matter how far you go up on the y-axis. It's just, you're just collecting the x. Let's go to the 50 again, about. Maybe we go a little longer, it doesn't matter. That's a little longer. Control C, copy. We're going to paste it over here, Control and paste. And we got just the time, only seconds. And it didn't paste for some odd reason. There it is. And you see this one's 9.99. So the times aren't quite right yet. We're going to fix it. I'll show you how. Lithium 30. Okay, so now we're going to go back over here to pick our file up. This is the lithium at 30. It's already average of 20. You see the 20 here. You can click over there on the side and it will go back to there. So there's the 20. We're going to take the same value here. So if you do get close to the 0, and you can just keep that like that. Let's Control C. Back to Excel. Control paste it in. Time in seconds, and that's all we want. There it is. And now we're going to do the saline wash. So I'm just going to put wash here, move the column over, and collect again. And we're going to do the next 20. Okay, so those 20. And the file's changed a little bit, but I'm going to do Control C. And then I'm going to put that over here as Control V. And then just paste it in. Now, let's try to get all these times the same. That's 97. 97 is down here. So 97 would be the one we want. So let's get rid of all this. It won't matter a few pages, but we don't want it messed up when we superimpose the graphs. Watch out that you do a left or a shift up. We want shift up in this case. So 0.97, 0.97. Oops. This one we got to take away 2. Let's do delete. We're going to make sure it's shift up, not to the left. And now it's 0.97 for the time. This one too has to be adjusted to 0.97. So let's do a delete, shift up, 0.97, this one as well. Now we'll have everything starting at the same time. So we can superimpose them. Delete, shift up. There we go. So they're all starting at 0.97, 0.97, 0.97. We don't actually need these time axes now that they're all the same. So we could actually delete these, make this file a little bit smaller. Okay, we should save this. Save as. Put it on a C drive here, or wherever you're planning to do it in. And I'm just going to put it in the desktop. No, I should put it under our class, but I'll put it in the desktop for now. I'm going to say group 1, caps, lithium. Today's date was 09/07-2023. Remember, when you name something, don't use dots. You can, especially on a Dell. I think Macs can handle it, but IBM can't use dashes. Okay, so we copied that just for safekeepings. Now, I don't know how to superimpose graphs on top of each other. I mean, you can graph this, right, in Excel. You can insert a graph, but how do you make one graph on top of the other? I don't know. So I want to make another graph on top of this one. What do you do? I don't know how to do anything. If you wanted to make a new graph, I guess something about this, or maybe it's add. I don't know. But you can make another graph over here. You can make another graph over here. Maybe you can make separate graphs. How does this work? Insert a graph. If you can figure that out, that would be great. I can't. I don't know how to work Excel. I hate Excel. So what I do is I take this to another program called SigmaPlot, which is a graphics program. Take this whole mess, copy it. Okay. Now, I think you can download SigmaPlot free. I don't know. I would hope you could. Here's SigmaPlot. If you just saved it as an Excel file and sent it to me that's labeled well, then I can go ahead and graph it for you in SigmaPlot. But I like SigmaPlot. It works well, and you'll see why. Let's take this. There's our graphs. There's our data. Let's graph it. Line scatter, line graph. It's going to take one at a time, because why? We can change the colors easier. There's the X. There's the Y. There's that one. Oh, we don't want symbols. So I'm going to click on these graph properties. We don't want symbols, no symbols. Oh. None. We just want a line. We want a solid line, and we want it at 3. So I'm going to change that little thing to 0.03, so it's a nice line. And we could make it wider. You can move it around like this. Click up here for the graph properties, size and position. We can make this 9, for example, and the width. Apply, cancel it. Now it's a little bit larger. We can even plot just from 0.01 to maybe 0.04. Click on this and say we just want the graphing X data from 0.01 maybe to 0.404. Return. Okay, a little bit easier maybe to see the graphs. Now you click here. Let's get rid of these little extra lines here that we don't need, extra stuff. Now you're going to click on this, go to graph page, we're going to say add plot. And now what are we going to do? We're going to add a line plot, not a scatter. Line and simple straight line, XY pair. Our X is always the same. This one. Now Y, this one. There's that one. Let's make this one now a line. Let's make it a color. Let's do red starting off. We can change that to 0.03. It looks like it got a little bigger. Great. Let's add another graph. Add plot. Line. Simple straight line. XY pair. X is what? Same column again. Y now is lithium at 15. Let's take that. Let's make that green, for example. Line, green. Let's make it thick enough, 0.03. We see that it's moving to the right a little bit. That means conduction velocity is changing. It got a little smaller, but we have some problem with this y-axis we're going to correct. So now we're going to add another plot. We're going to add the 30. XY pair. X is the same. This Y is now 30. There, and let's say, what can we do with this? Let's make this one blue. So if we change this line to blue and make it a little thicker, 0.03. Here's blue. We can really see it shifted over. Now we want the last one, so add plot. XY pair. X is the same. And now the wash. There's the wash. There's the wash added right there. Watch what columns you're on. Finish. Let's make this one purple. Line, purple, pink, whatever it is. Let's make that 0.032. Okay. Now we got those. Oh, that's interesting. Let's make this bigger so we can see it. Well, we don't need all this. So let's just plot it up to what, 0.03 maybe? Or even 0.02. So double click on it. Scaling, we want the x-axis. Let's go down to 0.02. We don't need all this stuff up front. Let's get rid of this and go a little bit further down. And now it's going to look at that. That's beautiful. These are superimposing the stimulus artifact. The compound action potentials right here. We can see the amplitude changes, but the axis is changing here. So it's kind of hard to know if the amplitude's going up, but you've taken those measures in the last recording. But for graphic purposes, it might be better to have them all superimposed the same line. So we can click on this first data column in the saline, and we can say analysis. We're going to use this user defined. And what we're going to do is we're going to take column 3 equals column 3, and we're going to subtract that number. There it is. And it should go very close to 0. That's very close to 0. We're going to take this number, do the same thing. But this time we're going to subtract it. Let's get this out of there. And now it use column 6. And column 6, so column 6 equals column 6. We're replacing it with that. That should be close to 0, which it is. Every time you got to close out, it's just a little easier. This one, now user defined, is column 9. Hold on. You'll see what's happening. We want to add this time because it's a negative value. So let's add, get rid of this negative value right there. And now it should be close to 0. That's close to 0. Get rid of this. We got 2 more columns to work with. This one, user defined. We want to plus this to that one. Get rid of that negative value. This is column 12. This is column 12. Should be close to 0. It is. Get rid of this. Start it again. There's this one. . This time we still want to add it together, so we're going to use a plus sign here because it's a negative to begin with. If it was way up here at plus, we'd want a minus sign. This is 15. And this is 15. You do have to pay attention to all this. And if we run to run, that's 0. Okay, so now if we look at the superimposed graph, they're all very close to the same baseline. But what do you see here? You can see the amplitudes changed. And if we zoom in a little bit, black was saline. Red was the lithium at 0, which really didn't change the delay much at all. And the amplitude's about the same. Green was after 15 minutes. Look at it changed the time. Became slower in conduction, and the amplitude became smaller, right? The green line compared to the black line. Now blue was after 30 minutes. It's about the same amplitude, but the waveform's really changed its shape quite a bit. This is a lot smaller here, smaller in some aspects here because the green had 2 pumps, and this has just got 1 and that little one, but it sure has delayed quite a bit. 30 is just really a big delay, and then we washed it out. And the washout was in purple. Look at this. The delay has come right back. It is no longer delayed. It's right on top of the black. So now we've changed our conduction velocity back to control pretty much, but the amplitudes are a little funky. Still got this doublet in there, but relatively about the same size. Look at the purple here compared to the blue. It's actually coming back towards the black line. So it's going back to the initial values. I mean, if we flushed longer, things like that, it might be pretty much close to the original black line. So now we can take this graph and superimpose it. You can take this and you can actually relabel these. You can say this column here was saline. This column here, the red one, was lithium at 0 seconds, 0 minutes maybe. And then the next one was lithium at 15 minutes. The next one was lithium 30 minutes. The next one was washout. Now we have all that listed in there, so you can make sure that you know what you're graphing and what the values were like. Now we can save this, put it on a graph or for the paper, for example, or you can put it on your poster. Okay, so this is what I can do for you in SigmaPlot if you send me your data file in Excel. Now I'm going to save this, and we can save this as a graphics file as well. I'm going to save this as Group 1 Lithium, CAP project. That's what I have this as. Lithium. Okay, superimpose it. So there it is. All right. So that's how we can get the graphs to superimpose, and then you can get this nice little graph. You can label these a little differently if you like. At least we can get it into a graphics file.